Pirate Software destroyed his own reputation to protect billion-dollar companies that are stealing from gamers. This YouTuber with over 1 million followers spread lies about stop killing games, betrayed his own audience, and accidentally made the movement unstoppable. In this video, I'm going to expose exactly how Pirate Software spread dangerous lies about the stop killing games movement, show you the shocking truth about what this initiative really does, and reveal how his attacks actually backfired and made the movement stronger than ever. Here's what Pirate Software doesn't want you to know about this movement. Ross Scott wasn't some angry gamer throwing a tantrum. This guy had been watching games disappear for years. He'd seen entire communities lose their favorite worlds overnight. He'd watched companies flip switches and erase millions of hours of memories. The day the crew shut down, Ross sat at his computer staring at a game he'd paid for that was now completely unplayable. Not because it was broken, not because servers were too expensive, but because Ubisoft decided it was done. They took his money, kept it, and deleted the product. That's when Ross realized something terrifying. This wasn't just about the crew. Companies were literally destroying gaming history. Every day, games that people loved were being erased forever, and nobody was stopping them. So Ross started Stop Killing Games. But here's the part that Pirate Software completely lied about. This movement isn't trying to force companies to keep servers running forever. It's not demanding that World of Warcraft stay online until the end. That's complete nonsense. Stop Killing Games has one simple goal. When companies shut down a game, they have to leave it in a playable state. Maybe that means releasing server files. Maybe it means creating offline modes. Maybe it means letting the community take over. But you can't just steal people's money and delete what they bought. This is basic consumer protection. If you buy a car and the company goes out of business, your car doesn't just disappear. If you buy a book and the publisher shuts down, your physical book doesn't vanish from your shelf. But somehow with games and other digital products, companies think they can take your money and then delete what you purchased. The Stop Killing Games petition was gaining momentum. People were finally waking up to this scam. And then something shocking happened that almost killed this movement. Here's where the story gets absolutely disgusting. Pirate Software, whose real name is Jason Hall, decided to make himself the hero of this story. He released a video absolutely destroying the Stop Killing Games movement, and every single thing he said was either a lie or a gross misunderstanding of what the petition actually wanted.
So I want to say 80, maybe even 90% of people who are against the initiative are against it because they think it's doing something it's not. For example, the #1 criticism about the initiative that we've never been able to shake is that it's unworkable because you can't expect publishers to support games forever. Yeah, we know. That's why we've never asked for that. Our biggest critic by far is YouTuber and streamer Pirate Software, who goes by Thor. If your only exposure to Stop Killing Games has been this video, then you've been misinformed. This video is by someone who does not understand the campaign, has been trying to stop it, and has been making up what it is about. To this day, I'm still getting frequent comments and emails about the same falsehoods about the campaign that originated in this video.
First, he claimed the petition was too vague and didn't explain what it wanted. This is a complete lie. The petition clearly states its goals. It wants basic consumer protection for digital games. It wants companies to leave games in a playable state when they shut them down. It's literally written in plain English. But Pirate Software didn't stop there. He claimed that Stop Killing Games would destroy all live service games. This is the most ridiculous lie of all. The petition specifically says it's not trying to keep servers running forever. It's asking for basic preservation when servers shut down.
Thor does not understand what Stop Killing Games is. Here it is in his words.
So for those who don't understand, the Stop Killing Games initiatives is basically, we don't want single-player games to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single-player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change. They need to be specific that they're talking about single-player games that do not need a server to support them. And as much as they want it to be about specifically games, where it is a single-player game that has always online functionality, it would impact every live service game that exists, instead of just targeting single-player, always online games.
No, that's not what it is. Stop Killing Games includes single-player games, but nothing about it is specific to them. He completely made that up, and I have no idea where he got that impression. So let's clear this up. It's the first line on the website. Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. So that's one thing Thor doesn't understand, but he also seems to think this is about converting multiplayer games to single-player. Once again, he made that up.
Imagine the day that World of Warcraft shuts down, and suddenly you have to make it a single-player game for every individual that ever bought the game. That's what they're asking for.
No.
Because they would have to sunset live service games as a single-player experience. The idea that suddenly you need to make every single live service game playable single-player offline? No, dude.
Correct. No.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games.
Oh, he's so close. He's so close to getting it.
It is vague, and because of that, it will impact.
He never has that light bulb moment.
Here's what really happened. PirateSoftware saw a movement that threatened the game industry's ability to steal money from consumers, and instead of supporting gamers, he decided to protect billion-dollar companies. He used his massive platform to spread lies and misinformation about a movement that was trying to help every single gamer. But here's where it gets even worse. Jason Hall isn't just some random YouTuber. He's worked in the game industry for years. He's worked for companies like Blizzard.
I was watching a video that was critiquing you for mentioning you work at Blizzard so much. I literally never talk about it. When I worked at Blizzard, I did that for Blizzard. Blizzard, 7 years, yeah. Blizzard. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. Used to work at Blizzard Entertainment, your red team specialist for Blizzard Entertainment. And Blizzard is having worked at Blizzard. I grew up at Blizzard. Blizzard, industry for Blizzard Entertainment. Blizzard. Yeah, no, I worked at Blizzard back when I used to work at Blizzard when I was at Blizzard. For those who don't understand, I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment. I know how to do that because I worked at Blizzard. Example of this when I was at Blizzard. I didn't know so many things. I worked at Blizzard for 7 years. I don't think I'm better than other people. I do think that it's funny because you can't. There's a lot of people that brought that up, and it's like I never said that I was. I think sometimes the things that I talk about in regards to those types of things is misconstrued as arrogance or boasting. When in reality, I'm just trying to give context.
So that is the problem right there. So I want you to listen to this phrase. This gets misconstrued as arrogance, but in reality, it's this. Yeah. That is the most arrogant statement on the planet, bro.
I actually am the first second-generation Blizzard employee. I was the first second-generation Blizzard employee ever. The first second-generation Blizzard employee. First second-generation Blizzard employee. So I'm second-generation Blizzard. I'm the first second-generation Blizzard employee that ever existed in the company. I'm also a second-generation Blizzard employee. I was a second-generation Blizzard employee. I was the first second-generation Blizzard employee ever. I was the first second-generation Blizzard employee. And I love that shit. I love that company. Working for Blizzard sucked, and I work at Blizzard. Or I worked at Blizzard. There's me eating a sandwich. Yeah, that was actually at Blizzard. I think it was my first, I think it was 2009. It was me picking a safe. It was me cracking a safe at Blizzard. Your Blizzard stories are fake? Which Blizzard story do you think is fake? Would you like to talk to me or my dad that worked at Blizzard for 23 years that's currently in chat? Which one do you want?
He has connections to the very industry that Stop Killing Games is trying to regulate. This guy literally stood on his platform and lied to over 1 million followers to protect the companies he used to work for. He chose corporate profits over consumer rights, and he did it while pretending to be looking out for gamers. But here's where the story gets incredible. PirateSoftware's attacks completely backfired. Instead of killing the Stop Killing Games movement, he accidentally made it stronger than ever. The gaming community isn't stupid. When people started looking into PirateSoftware's claims, they realized he was lying. They saw that Stop Killing Games wasn't trying to destroy live service games. It was trying to protect consumers getting ripped off. Big names started supporting the movement.
Ross is addressing the video PirateSoftware made many months ago because it's at the end of the life cycle of this initiative and it's not looking promising, so he's willing to do anything to try and set the record straight and hopefully start getting more momentum back to the movement because the damage PirateSoftware did to it through his video was substantial. Ross is correct. This has nothing to do with just single-player only games that require an online connection, that when the online connection is severed, you lose access to the game. Like, yeah, that is included in all of this, but that's not, like, what the whole movement is about. And for some reason, PirateSoftware is stun-locked on that, like, fixated, as if that is the actual, like, meat and potatoes of Stop Killing Games. It is about the whole practice of destroying games that consumers have already purchased and having no end-of-life plans for games that are being sunset.
The community was waking up to the truth. And then something amazing happened. The petition signatures started exploding. All the attention from PirateSoftware's attacks brought more people to actually read what Stop Killing Games was about. And when they read it, they realized it made perfect sense. The movement that PirateSoftware tried to kill hit 1 million signatures. 1 million people said they were tired of companies stealing their money and deleting their games. The very attacks that were supposed to destroy the movement made it impossible to ignore. He tried to destroy a consumer protection movement and accidentally made it unstoppable. But here's the part that should terrify every gamer. This drama showed us something horrifying about how many games we've already lost forever. While PirateSoftware was spreading lies, hundreds of games were disappearing from existence. Think about this. Every game that's been shut down over the past decade is gone. Not archived, not preserved, gone. The companies took millions of dollars from players and then deleted the products. It's like buying a movie and having Netflix delete it from existence a year later. Games like City of Heroes, WildStar, and dozens of others are completely unplayable now. Years of progress, friendships, and memories were erased because companies decided they were done making money. This isn't about keeping servers running forever. This is about basic preservation. When a movie studio shuts down, they don't delete every copy of their films. When a book publisher goes out of business, they don't burn every book they ever printed. But somehow game companies think they can take your money and then erase what you bought. Stop Killing Games isn't asking for anything crazy. They want companies to plan for the end. When you're going to shut down a game, leave it in a playable state. Release server files so communities can run their own servers. Create offline modes. Let people play what they paid for. Car companies don't make your car stop working when they go out of business. Phone companies don't delete your contacts when they shut down. But somehow game companies convinced people that digital products are different. They're not different. You paid money for a product. You should be able to use that product. It's that simple. The Stop Killing Games movement is trying to establish basic consumer rights, and PirateSoftware tried to kill it to protect billion-dollar companies that are literally stealing from consumers.
If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single-player experience, and then taking away support in the future.
Now he's changed it again and is making up how it's about single-player games are advertised. What is he doing?
It needs to be specific about the business practice it's trying to defeat, which is specifically companies that are doing this under the guise of it being a single-player game, but adding online-only functionality that is not necessary and doesn't add any gameplay elements. That's the problem.
No, that's not it at all. Nothing in the initiative is asking to convert games to single-player.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games.
Yeah, so why does he keep bringing it up? This is a total red herring.
Here's what makes this even more disgusting. PirateSoftware built his entire brand on being the gamer's friend. He presents himself as someone who understands the industry and looks out for players. But when push came to shove, he chose corporate profits over consumer rights. He used his platform to spread lies about a movement that was trying to help every single person watching his streams. He betrayed his own audience to protect the companies that are ripping them off. And the worst part? He did it while pretending to be the reasonable one. He acted like he was just trying to educate people about how the industry works. But really, he was trying to convince people to accept being stolen from. The thing is, Stop Killing Games hitting 1 million signatures is just the beginning. The real battle is about to start, and the gaming industry is already fighting back with their own lies and propaganda.